Do you remember baby formula? That special mixture of cow's milk supplemented with just the right vitamins and minerals for healthy bones and teeth. Well, there have been some new developments in the formula world. Research has brought some new ingredients to add to the tried and true formulas of the past. But just what to add and how much is the source of some debate and discussion in the nutrition world. To tell us about it, we welcome back our guide to the world of food, Carol Greenwood. She's a professor of nutrition from the University of Toronto and the Baycrest Centre for Geriatric Care. Hi, Carol.
Hi, Bob. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. So what's the issue over baby formulas?
Well, the issue really comes down to the fact that we are trying to make our formulas as close as possible to human breast milk. But we're at a time where we're looking at the kinds of fats that we should be putting into infant formulas, and at a point where we're undergoing a lot of debate.
Now, when you say fats, what do you mean?
Well, we're meaning fats and oils, so that predominantly most formulas would have fat sources that would come from oils like soybean or canola oil, and they're chosen for very specific reasons in terms of the different kinds of fatty acids, which are parts of fats that we want available to the body. So they're blended for a very specific reason in terms of infant development.
Now, why is it important to have fats in infant formula?
Clearly we need them for two reasons. One is it just provides the energy, the calories that the infant needs, but more importantly, fats are used in terms of manufacturing membranes. So that as we talk about development and growth of cells, we need fats there in order to be able to provide the building blocks. Particularly important in terms of looking at the time of development when infants are consuming breast milk or formula, the fact that it's a time of very rapid brain growth. So that we're really wanting to make sure that we're providing the appropriate building blocks to the brain in order that you get optimal development.
Well, then, if infant formula needs these fatty acids, why not just put them in? Why is it difficult to do that?
Well, there's really two reasons. One is that we're looking at fatty acids that are not presently in the formula, but that they are present in human breast milk. And the real issue is that we not only have to look at the level of these fatty acids in the infant formula, but also the relative proportion that should be there. And that's very critical in terms of providing the right blend of fatty acids to the brain for development. And at this point, we don't have the specific information in terms of the optimal amounts and the optimal blend of the two.
What are the risks involved here?
Well, the risk is that we're adding fat sources that we don't have experience with. And so that we've got tons of experience with corn oils and soybean oils and all of those sorts of things. One of the sources that we use in terms of adding these other fatty acids is fish oils. And we just don't have a lot of experience in terms of feeding fish oils to infants. What is happening more and more is that we're now producing these specific fats with fungus. And so growing them in culture, extracting them, and then incorporating them into an infant formula. And that while that technology should be safe, we don't yet have 100% evidence that we can use it safely all the time. What if something goes wrong? What would be the consequence of that? And it's particularly important from the infant because that's the only food they're ingesting.
It's really amazing that here we have something that nature produces, where we have breast milk that has all of the right ingredients in the right proportions, and yet we can't duplicate that artificially.
That's right. That's right. And I suppose what it's saying is that if you look at milk for different species, that it does differ a little bit. So human breast milk is not the same as cow's milk, is not the same as goat's milk. So to a certain extent, have we evolved within each species that we're providing the optimum blend for our own species, and that's probably what has happened. And we just don't happen to have another species that we can get milk from that's right for the human. And so you have to look at starting with one thing and then adding on to make it more like the human product.
So how will this be resolved then, to figure out what the proper ingredients and what the proper proportions of those ingredients are to add to infant formula to make it safe?
Well, what's interesting right now is that despite the fact that we're all working with the same scientific literature, is in Europe they have decided to go ahead and add these products to the formulas. In North America, we've decided to wait and continue with the clinical trials and test the technology. So I think what we're going to find is that while we're holding back in North America, that the large use of these products now in Europe is probably going to provide us with the fundamental data that's going to say we should either go forward or we should stay where we are.
So what's the message to mothers?
Well, I think the real bottom line message to mothers is that without doubt, breast is best. Nevertheless, there are a large number of women that either cannot or choose not to breastfeed, and consequently, we need to have safe products to them. The formulas that we manufacture in North America are safe. We do not have to worry in terms of brain development of our infants, so that they can comfortably purchase what's available in the marketplace.
And hopefully that product will improve in the future.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Carol, thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
So first on the list, here's a letter about our recent conversation with nutritionist Carol Greenwood. She discussed the debate over adding fats derived from fish oil to infant formula. These fatty acids are important for infant brain development, and Carol said the appropriate proportions to add are not known.
The letter comes from Dr. Jack Newman, a pediatrician at Sick Children's Hospital in Toronto. He writes, "Every defect in infant formulas which is corrected, and this one has not yet been corrected, is hailed by infant formula manufacturers as a breakthrough in nutrition, conveniently forgetting all the babies who came before and did not benefit from this. And too many healthcare professionals just eat it up." Dr. Greenwood is quite correct. Correcting the fault in infant formulas with regard to long-chain fatty acids is more than just adding some. In fact, there are dozens, if not hundreds, of elements of breast milk which are not present in infant formulas. The absence of these does not seem to worry anyone, but it should. Our relaxed attitude to the insufficiencies of formula is shocking. Finally, I would like to add that stating that many women cannot breastfeed or choose not to is false. A few cannot produce enough milk, but can still breastfeed. Most that choose not to breastfeed are not given the information to make an informed choice, typically because of approaches of healthcare professionals who say that, despite the deficiencies in formula, it's just as good as breastfeeding. Well, it's not. That was from Jack Newman, a pediatrician at Sick Children's Hospital.